How's everybody doing? This is
Whoa.
this is like the hardcore. Wow, it's bright up here. This is like the hardcore people. Like you guys must be real NFT fans, or you just have nowhere else to go. Because I feel like I'm. Yeah, well, I feel like I'm the last thing between you guys and happy hours. So hopefully I got some good things to share with you guys. My name's Roger, and it is working. So I've mutated a couple times in my career. I started out as a kind of web designer and development guy way back in the 90s, and then I mutated into a VC. And then along came NFTs, and I just caught the bug, like a lot of you guys in this room. What we run is we run a company called Tempo, and where we aggregate all the content is a portal called Fan Tempo. That's how old I am. I still call things portals. And we do two things really well in the music industry. One is we're a fund, so we partner with top-level musicians and actually fund their NFT communities. And then on top of that, that's much better, thank you, in terms of the lights. We build out their communities, and we're going to talk about how we do that today. Because you guys are all in the room, I felt like I wanted to do something a little special for everyone who's here. So if you follow me on Twitter, we're about to drop a community with a top 5 R&B musician. And if you hit me on Twitter and just throw up your favorite like crypto acronym, whether it's we all gonna make it or not gonna make it, I'll make sure that you get on the whitelist for that drop, and you can exercise that right if you want to or not. So when we talk about fan clubs, the first iteration of fan club was really just getting access to tickets before anyone else. So back in the 90s and even predating that, the reason people signed up for email lists was to get that pre-sale code for a Fish concert or an Alicia Keys concert, and that was kind of the first iteration of fan clubs. The second, these will all be familiar to everybody in this room. It's social, right? And that's how we interacted with the people that we liked that were musicians. That's how they kind of broadcast to us, and in some cases, that's how they interacted with us on a one-to-one basis. But mostly, it was a broadcast type of channel. What's happening now and what we're kind of forging forward with at Tempo is how do you weave NFTs into building a fan club? And from our perspective, and a very simplistic perspective, there's 3 kind of pillars to making a successful fan club work on the blockchain using NFTs. One is community, and when you talk about community, there's really only 3 things that matter in the NFT world. I call it the DOT, so it's Discord, OpenSea, and Twitter. And OpenSea is just it's a catch-all for a marketplace, but that is obviously the most popular one. So in terms of building the community, you see some of the tools that are up there today. That's really the thin edge to building a fan club and building a community. And mostly these days, it's starting with Discord. The second piece is, your membership card and your Genesis drop. If we make the analogy to, what Bored Apes did, it's that initial ape, right? And there's so much more, when you look past the tip of the iceberg, and that's really when you get into, the roadmap. So what do you drop once you've dropped your Genesis, card? For music, it's, sky's the limit, and there's a lot of experimentation going on. There's a couple of categories that are up here. There's more collectibles. So again, back to Bored Apes. There was, the Kennel Club, and then they did the Mutated Ape. So you can drop more collectibles related to music and the musician over time. Experiences, music, we'll talk about that in a second because this is a music, fan club. And then obviously merchandise, and then a charity give back, and we'll talk about all this in a second. These are just some of the kind of gospel points that we use when we're partnering with top musicians. We deal with musicians that mostly have more than 10 million kind of Spotify monthly listeners, so we're not working with independents, we're working with, global musicians. And there's a couple of things that we kind of keep in mind. This space is so new, and the temptation to, run in and grab that bag of money, which we've all seen, and there's no disrespect to anybody who's done that. That was the right thing to do at the time. But it just feels like the world has shifted, and that the NFT space needs sophistication and discipline. When you're dealing with musicians of this kind of caliber, they are used to doing things with professionals and in ways that don't risk what they've built up with their fans. When you're dealing with musicians that have 10, 15 years of history, they've got nothing but risk when they're looking at the NFT space. So you need to look at this in a way that brings discipline. The same, when they're about to drop an album, it's like, the lengthy time that it takes to put the art together, to do the producing, to do the masters, and then to do the marketing and drop. Let's bring that same sophistication to the NFT space, right? So discipline is absolutely important. The second is really one size does not fit all. So Alicia Keys' fan club should look nothing like Nicki Minaj's fan club, should look nothing like the Jonas Brothers fan club. And this may seem obvious, but again, the temptation is to jump in and do something that somebody else has already done. And so at Tempo, what we do is we back up and we do a lot of work on strategy. And this is going to sound very consumer packaged goods, but what is the unique selling proposition of that artist? What do they stand for? Why do their fans like them? How are we going to bridge that gap, right? So again, discipline, strategy, thoughtfulness up front, that's important. Employ your fans. So, some of the musicians we work with have Discords or have, existing chat rooms or groups, and some don't. But all of these musicians have an army of super fans that want to help. And, mobilizing and igniting and incenting and paying, in some cases, those people is important to a music fan club using NFTs. A couple more things. High quality art, push the boundaries for membership cards. Again, the temptation is to just drop a PFP. Maybe that's the right thing for the artist, but probably not. And there's so many other things that you could be doing that could act as that membership card into the community, right? Could it be a piece of clothing? Could it be, something related to AR or VR or SnapLens or what TikTok's doing with their AR, rollout? Think outside the box on the membership card in the Genesis side. Collabos. So this is something the musicians they have in their DNA, especially in the R&B and urban spaces. They understand the power of working with other musicians, other artists, leverage that, and we see that kind of in spades. Even just the first generation of NFTs was all about musicians and a well-known artist, and leveraging the star power of both of those artists together to add more value to fans. Some motherhood and apple pie stuff. Start small, scale in a thoughtful way. You don't have to come up with 10,000 right away, even if you're a big artist, right? You don't have to drop 10,000 membership cards or avatars or whatever it is. Start in a small way. Ask your community what they want. And again, get people to ask on your behalf, right? Understand and drop small and then scale big over time. So merch to supercharge. Again, we go back to the gold standard. Apes did an amazing job with this, with their mashup with the hundreds. And now they're doing it on their own. You guys have all seen the lines outside. The same thing goes in the music space. And what I'm excited about is this changes the economics for musicians. And so they get you think they get pennies from Spotify, they get small pennies from the merchandise companies as well. So if they can do this in a direct way and in a way that's on brand and theme for what they're dropping as their membership card, that's an interesting proposition for both the artist and the fan. So this is an interesting one. It's a music fan club, so you have to have music in there some way, somehow. Now, dropping music and dropping songs, I don't know if anybody's exploring that. We saw some people talking about it earlier today. That is an incredibly thorny, and it's literally just a minefield in terms of getting the right people to agree, getting the rights. You have to find a way, if you're dropping a music fan club, to put music in some way, somehow. That may not mean dropping a song, that may be a listening party or doing a live stream. But, as a musician putting a fan club out, people expect music from you. So you got to find a way to weave music in. The final thing is, we've seen this again with the Apes. They've done so well in terms of just making commitments, and the surprise and delight of people who own those tokens has been off the charts. This is a long-term commitment. You cannot drop and run. When you're building a fan club and you're expecting people to pay their hard-earned money, $99, $149, whatever the price is, price of a concert ticket, you're signing up for a commitment, and you better make good on that commitment. And before you jump in as a musician to building a fan club, understand what that commitment really means. Because again, there's so much risk with your fans. The final thing is just around charity and grants, and this has to be done in an authentic way. Hopefully this is leveraging some of the activities that you're already doing as a musician. In fact, everything I'm talking about should leverage and be a layer on top of the activities that a musician's already doing. So music, you're putting music out. drop some of it into the fan club, find a way to get it in. You've got a business venture, a sneaker, kind of collaboration, find a way to pull that in here, right? So we become this layer on top of existing activities. Charity is as important, if not more important, when you're doing this. It is really easy when you're a musician who has 30 million Spotify listeners and you drop something like this for people to put you, oh my God, I'm over time. I'm so sorry. It is so easy for people to put you in the box that you are the man or the girl in the mansion just looking for the money grab. This is a way to neutralize that. I'm sorry, bro.
Do not apologize. Everybody give him a look how humble he is. Roger, that was amazing.
I'm Canadian, so that's just...